Hello, and welcome to another episode from the Department of Deportation. Today, we're going to be taking more looks at Lake Worth Beach, and this is going to be the first in a several-part series examining the last week or so where Lake Worth and the city commissioners and the mayor have decided that they're going to try and undermine immigration authority once again. Don't forget to like and share this video and follow our channel. Basically just going to watch the pre-agenda workshop from this past Friday, which preceded the meeting from yesterday, and listen to them try and outwoke each other. At least I clipped the important parts so you don't have to watch the entire hour-long meeting.
I want to know, what is hyperbole, what is actually happening. We hear these awful stories, and I'm sure part of them are true, and I'm sure part of them are exaggerated. And I know that, PBSO is required to help in situations where they're being pulled in. And but I don't, but these poor children have no family, have no parents left. And I know that it's not up to us to change any of that. I just don't, and I don't know that making a statement, I don't know what that would even do. But I just know that it needs to be recognized in some way that and I also, with all due respect to the Guatemalan Mine Center, it would have been nice to have an invitation to that vigil and let us know that it was happening. Because maybe we would want to go.
Yeah. I mean, when I spoke,
anyway, you guys know what I'm getting at here. I want to be sensitive to the needs of our community, and I also want to be sensitive to law and order. So I just don't know how to thread that needle in a way that doesn't make us more of a target.
no, it's a terrible situation. I spoke with Mariana a couple of weeks ago and offered to help because, if a parent gets sent away and the child is left behind, what happens to that child? And they've got legal aid working, and I offered to help, but they said they had enough people to write prenatal guardianships. If something happens to me, this is my friend who I want to take my children, and that takes, that tiny bit of it. Mr. McVoy?
Yeah, a couple things. One is I do want to make it clear that to the best, and I'm following this pretty close. I've been at a number of the arrests around town. I want to make it clear that to the best of my knowledge, PBSO has been pretty good about not being, they're certainly not leading the charge on it.
Right.
Because they have signed the 287G, which was a voluntary decision that they didn't have to take, but they certainly were under a lot of pressure from Tallahassee to do so. So if they get asked for help by FH, Florida Highway Patrol, or ICE, I think they have little legal leeway to not respond. But I do want to say that they do not appear to be at the lead at all on this. So I wrote yesterday to Captain Conlon to thank him for that. And I also wrote that there is, in my opinion, a huge concern with this that's not the primary humanitarian concern for the families, but there's a huge concern that I make the distinction between PBSO and FHP and ICE, but a lot of people do not in our community. It's law enforcement is out of control, arresting normal workers, people who have no criminal record, and we don't want to have anything to do with any law enforcement. And that diminishes the ability of PBSO to be effective in our community. And that concerns me a lot. And I know that PBSO is also very concerned about that. They're getting, somewhat unfairly tarnished with the brush. But I also understand why people have, at this point, I would say it's, almost a hatred for any form of law enforcement, because what we see happening of families being broken up, of 75,000 people around the country that ICE has abducted, kidnapped out of communities, out of workplaces, have no criminal record. The vast majority of the people, despite what Kristi Noem and ICE and DHS are saying, they're lying. Their own data, when they finally make it available under Freedom of Information Act, makes it clear that the vast majority of people that they are taking have no criminal convictions. Many of them have legal processes in process. Some of them are U.S. citizens. People are not being given their medicine. People are separated. I know a person, and as far as, is it exaggerated? No. It is unfortunate that I was the only commissioner there at the vigil yesterday. I don't know how the thing was advertised, but there were a lot of people there. People came from well within the community. People came from out of the community. The problem is not exaggerated. I've taken kids down to Miami to send them back home because their parents are gone. It is bad, and I have yet to hear of even one case in Lake Worth where the person actually was a criminal that had any reasonable criminal. It's possible that there are some, but I have yet to hear of a case. All of them were people who are simply working and taking care of their families. So yes, I think I just saw this morning, I saw something, I believe it came from Donna Kerner, but from the Democratic Club. I don't know. I didn't look real closely, but it had some suggestions of things that we as a commission might do. Plenty of communities around the country are deciding that they do have a duty to protect their own constituents, their own residents, and are taking some actions. Would it be effective? Should we take all of the proposed actions? That I don't know, but I think we do have things that could be done. We at least owe it to all of our residents that everybody coming into the city be clearly identified at a distance of 30 feet. Agency name, badge number, that's clear. Because otherwise we set up a situation where Joe Schmo and his brother Jim from wherever go in on Amazon and get a police outfit and say we're police and we can do anything. You have to stand back 25 feet. That has happened in the country. We are setting that up. We are setting ourselves up for liability.
All right.
Let's talk solution.
Sarah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Obviously, we're all a little frustrated, and the day that all that happened, I was doing some things behind the scene. Just because I'm not on the news doesn't mean I'm not trying to help. But at the same time, we have residents who have called the city and who have left messages with our city office that are the exact opposite, that they want this enforcement, spend my money, use my tax dollars. So I am frustrated, and I am frustrated again at the federal government and at the state government. But at the same time, we cannot turn a blind eye to when people are doing things that are going to harm the city in general. And getting into a confrontation like I did with one of these officers last week doesn't help. All it does is hinder the situation. And I just think the more help that we can do behind the scenes and the things that we can do to rally the community together, I think is really where we need to focus.
What do you propose?
Well, there are things that I did, like calling the Haitian radio station and ask them to do a blast to let people know that, what was happening in the community, alerting the local schools and the local nonprofits. So they tell the parents not to come pick up their kids because there's situations that are happening. There's certain social media pages that the community uses that we could communicate through or have other community members communicate through. So it takes the city out of it. But having somebody like the Guatemala Center or Mariana, who's not afraid to be in the public's eye, having them make sure that they have a checklist of who to contact when this happens, making sure that the parents all have, something in place to where their kids are safe if they get scooped up.
Chris, please. We're
So,
trying to get a little order
the only
here.
thing we can do is alert, but having the Guatemala Center go around and put up 200 signs that are code violations and blight our entire city and make other residents angry isn't helping.
I shared the other day about ICE being in Boynton Beach. Just, somebody sent it to me and I shared it. And the backlash that I got, because there's this assumption by some people that the fact that how the person got to this country illegally makes them a criminal. Okay, I mean, there's a huge there's a huge disconnect between the two sides. And Sarah, you're absolutely right for pointing that out, because not everyone thinks that it's a bad thing that this is happening to people. My fear is, and I think all of you know me, and I've done things behind the scenes as well, about losing funding. And they threatened to, they haven't overtly threatened to do that, but we just got funding for a very important secondary monitoring well. I don't know that I want to be the mayor who puts that into jeopardy, because that's something that the city needs. And I have no doubt that, given what I've heard about groups higher than us, that something like that is absolutely plausible. And so there's a no-win situation for us. We're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't. So, Chris, do you have a suggestion?
I think the suggestions that are in that email are all pretty reasonable. Did
Well,
we say
the email from Donna from the Democratic Club that everybody may not have gotten?
Let me look.
I got it. I got it.
Okay.
I believe we all got it. I don't know. I didn't
Okay.
look.
Well, it's from the Democratic Club, so I don't know who all.
Betty, Sarah, McVoy, Mimi, May, Segrich. I believe we are all on there. That they have to have a warrant. Colorado just said, yes, ICE, you have to have a warrant. You can't just arrest people for the hell of it. And, we could say, I've had the FHP tell me I don't need a warrant. I've had other people tell me legally. Well, we could add that and say that in our city, we have a duty to protect our residents. You cannot just come in without a warrant and arrest people. That's kidnapping.
I don't think we can do that. Elizabeth, can we do that?
We can't do that. We don't have that authority. It's federal.
Let them challenge us in court. Do it.
We don't need, that's exactly what we're talking about, Chris. We don't need to go to court and fight the federal government.
Well, plenty of other places have, and you can find.
Maybe they have more money than we have. I mean, I just don't think.
Madam Mayor, it's not even about the money, Chris. It's about the fact that we represent 46,000 people, and there are people in the city who don't want their money spent on that.
Right.
And there's a lot more who don't want their money, don't want to see Florida Highway Patrol, which apparently has such a bloated budget and so many extra people that they can have 6 officers, 6 cars, not on the highway, where I never see them anymore, out doing federal enforcement that they're not supposed to do.
But just as the gentleman told me, they have direct orders from the governor's office, and he said, I respect your authority as the vice mayor, but you know that this direct order came from the governor's office. When they're called to be back up, that is what they're supposed to do. Trust me, I almost got ran over by one that day, coming off the expressway.
We literally have no control over that. So, I think maybe what?
I find that to be not a correct statement.
Well, okay, I guess, I'm not going to argue with you, but we literally have no jurisdiction over federal, what the federal people do. We have no authority over that. So I don't know what the answer is. It's obviously there's no simple answer. No one's coming up with an answer. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Well, I'm getting, I think most of us are aware that, from one side we're getting, this is horrible and we should stop it. And the other side we're getting, this is what America needs to do. So, and we do represent constituents in the city. That is that's one of the things that we have to bear in mind is our city residents.
Right. I think as individuals, we can fight in any way we, I guess, want to, but as a joint commission representing 45,000 people, I think it's a very difficult position to ask us to put our citizens in. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard.
It's a horrible situation. My neighbor and the kids are not showing up at school. No, it's horrible. But I don't know that we have an answer. And, I'm getting lots of pressure. Oh, you should speak out. You should speak out. Well,
it's
number one.
it's interesting that we say that, oh, there are families depending on this. And we say that health and safety and welfare are primary things. And we are tolerating Florida Highway Patrol coming into our city in unmarked cars with masked people, taking wage earners.
We're not tolerating.
And we are tolerating that.
We
are
can't
saying,
stop
there's
that,
nothing we
Chris.
can do.
We can't stop it. I don't even know what you're talking about. We're not tolerating it. We hate it. But a lot of people don't.
Then do something.
All right. I
Yeah.
think this is this is like the snake eating its tail. We're not going to get anywhere.
Right. And I just think it's important that we, that list of things I did send to Captain Carnage, if there's anything on that list that we can legally do that we think that would be helpful, we can look into it. But I don't know that we can willy-nilly say you have to have all of the signage, you have to be 30 feet, you have to be yada. We can't do that. But if we can, then he can look into it. So I have forwarded that to Captain Karn, regarding the identification of officers. And if there's a legal way for us to make sure that the officers are identifying themselves as such, then I think we should do that. But I don't think that we can make stuff up.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
if the federal government can arrest people without any criminal violations, 75,000 of them, and any number of things that courts have said what they're doing in various flavors is illegal.
Well, then the court will handle it.
The courts, the courts. Sarah, your hand is up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I have to say, Mr. McAvoy, you just stated earlier that we need to provide information to our residents to call their legislatures. That's what you should be doing right now. You should be up in Tallahassee. You should be up in DC. You should, if this is your passion individually and personally, then you need to get to the people who can make the decisions, because we can't. Now, on the other hand, I want to be very clear. I saw somebody had sent an email and called out PBSO. I was at the scene at 3 scenes that day, and PBSO was not there. It was very much Homeland Security, ICE, Immigration, and FHP. There was not one PBSO officer at the site that I was at the other day. So
they've not been involved.
And I will second that.
So then why we can't control those groups?
Hey. Hang on, wait. I'm not done, you guys. Thank you. I'm driving.
I said Sarah's got the floor.
Thank you. I think that it's very important that we as a commission help control the narrative, because we want them to trust PBSO. PBSO has worked for years for communication and community trust and relationships. And these other agencies that don't have any interest, no vested interest in our city, they're destroying that relationship, which is hurting our officers. So I think that the one thing we can do is be positive and say, you know what, PBSO is still our community police. They still care about you. They still want you to make the call when you've been violated. Don't be afraid of PBSO. They are here to help you. That's what we can do as a commission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when on such a level that when asked a question, one of the federal, I forget what senator, do you believe that the amendment, which is equal protection for all, applies to people that are not citizens? And there was a hesitation because they don't think it is. And obviously it is. I mean, equal protection applies to anybody that's here. All right, I'm talking about the U.S. Constitution. So, we don't have an answer. We have a lot of concerns. Anybody have anything else that they want to talk about?
Please just, let's support PBSO and control the narrative so that they're not retaliated against. That's important to me.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy cow, thank God that's over. Well, at least part 1 is. We're definitely going to go over the other parts of the meeting that actually happened yesterday and further discussions on this in parts 2 and maybe 3. Well, that does it for this episode. Don't forget to like and share the video and follow our channel and visit Etsy for all our channel merch.